When you see manga panels that recreate famous paintings almost perfectly, what do you think? You probably think it's amazing, original, talented, maybe even genius. But what if I told you the mangaka who drew them, despite making art since childhood, couldn't get into an art school? She was simply rejected. What if I told you that when she finally did get into a university, she still had no idea what she wanted to do with her life? That her first manga stories were rejected by editors and never chosen for serialization? And what if I told you those beautiful panels aren't the result of pure talent at all, but of years of research, practice, and hard work? That not being a genius, not being naturally gifted at something, is completely normal. Well, I know a story that proves exactly that. And all those panels come from it. That story is Blue Period. Blue Period is a manga by Tsubasa Yamaguchi that has been running since 2017 in the magazine Afternoon. In 2021, it was adapted into an anime series by Studio 7 Arcs. The story follows a high school boy who decides he wants to become an artist, and it's heavily inspired by the mangaka's own life. Yamaguchi had been drawing since childhood, but she didn't really know what she wanted to do with it. Traditional Japanese painting, comics, design, everything interested her, but nothing felt certain. On the advice of one of her school teachers, she applied to a well-known private art university, but her portfolio was rejected. Almost as a joke, without expecting anything, she decided to try the entrance exams for the only national art university in Japan with publicly funded places, the Tokyo University of the Arts. She even applied to the oil painting department. And unexpectedly, she got in. It might sound like good luck, but in reality, it only made Yamaguchi's life more complicated. She was now studying at a prestigious university, and still had no idea what she actually wanted to do. At times, she even felt like she didn't belong there. Tokyo University of the Arts is known for giving its students a lot of freedom. They have fewer required classes than most students, and they're free to create whatever kind of work they want. Even if you are in the oil painting department, you can make installations, performances, or any other form of art. But that kind of freedom can make the questions even harder. Who do I want to become? What do I actually want to do? And why? Eventually, Yamaguchi asked one of her professors for advice. He told her that he himself had received his first real paycheck at 40, so she could afford to spend her youth doing what she truly enjoyed. Starting in her third year at university, Yamaguchi began drawing manga. But success didn't come quickly. Her first one-shots were rejected, and even after she caught the attention of Afternoon, she had to develop at least 3 different manga concepts before the editors finally let her try Blue Period. For the series, she didn't rely only on her own experience. She carefully researched the subject, interviewing fellow artists about their lives and asking former classmates to share dozens of their drawings. Some even created new ones that she later used as references in the manga. In the end, the work paid off. In 2020, Blue Period won the Kodansha Manga Award, and by the end of 2021, its circulation had surpassed 4.5 million copies. So what kind of story is this? And why does it show that it's completely okay to live without being a genius? Before we continue, if you're enjoying the video so far, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel. Growing a YouTube channel from scratch in 2026 is honestly pretty hard, and it really helps more than you might think. Thanks for the support. Blue Period is the story of Yatora Yaguchi, a high school student who seems like a pretty ordinary guy. He hangs out with friends late at night, watches football, maybe even smokes a cigarette now and then. He gets good grades and is popular with girls. There's just one problem. He isn't really passionate about anything. He has no real hobbies, no clear interests, no obvious talent. And when the time comes to choose his future path, the only thing he's thinking about is picking a public university because his family can't afford a private one. But one day, he happens to stop in front of a huge painting, completely by accident. Something about it, a little alive, a little strange, but mesmerizing, captivates him. So at the next art class, he decides to try painting his favorite view, Shibuya, in the early morning. And to his surprise, he gets absorbed in it. For the first time, he feels a genuine interest in something, even though the drawing is far from perfect. That's how he gets pulled into art. He joins the school art club, learns how to mix colors and paint shadows, discovers the works of famous artists, and realizes that getting into a national art university is harder than getting into almost any technical one. The odds are something like 50 to 1. And of course, it sounds completely foolish to even try when you only started drawing 2 years before graduation, with no experience and no natural talent. It's not a rational decision. But the more Yaguchi thinks about art, the harder it becomes to let the idea go. He begins to look at everything around him as if it were a painting. And in the end, just like the mangaka Yamaguchi herself, Yaguchi is persuaded by a teacher. She tells him, "Isn't it a waste to leave the thing you love as just a hobby? It's only natural to spend your life on something that truly captures you." That's how Yaguchi decides to try getting into Tokyo University of the Arts. But this is only the beginning of his struggles, because now he has to admit what he loves to his parents, his cool friends, his teachers, his classmates. What will they think? Will they support him or laugh at him? And that becomes another test. Because admitting to yourself and to others what you truly care about can be incredibly difficult. But because of this, Yaguchi begins to see both himself and the people around him differently. When he tells his mother about his new passion, he decides to paint her portrait. And for the first time, he notices how much she does for the family. Her sleepy eyes in the morning, the calluses on her hands from cooking, the way she keeps supporting her unreliable husband. And when he talks about art with his friends, he suddenly realizes they truly value him. Not just as a drinking buddy or the fun guy in the group, but as someone close to them. In response, they begin to share their own dreams, ambitions, and feelings. Things they had never talked about before.
俺な、パティシエ専門学校に入ることにした。
待って、聞いてないんだけど。
諦めてたからな。
But even that isn't enough. Wanting to get into an art university isn't enough on its own. You also have to be able to draw, and Yaguchi feels like he has no talent at all. Not just that he's inexperienced or unskilled. He feels empty. As if all his social skills, his good grades, his popularity at school were just a mask. And behind it, there was nothing. So he starts working. He draws in the art club. He enrolls in prep courses. He attends them during holidays and summer break. He takes twice as many assignments as his classmates. He draws for 10 hours a day, 2, 3, sometimes 6 sketches a day. He draws on trains, in class, on the street, whenever he has a moment, only to fail again and again. To repeat the same mistakes, to realize how little he still understands about art, to fall behind and feel just how far he is from everyone else. It seems to him that he's surrounded by talented people, a little stranger, a little more driven, far more gifted than he is. He starts to feel too simple, like he has no grand ideas or deep thoughts, too ordinary, too normal.
何これ。いや、言い訳すんなよ。とにかく完成まで持っていくぞ。
This feeling is very familiar to me, like Yaguchi. I was a good student at school. I had good grades, teachers praised me, though they often said I was lazy. I had plenty of friends and a good relationship with my parents. I wasn't into drawing, but I was drawn to literature. I worked on the school newspaper, took part in the theater club, and wrote a lot of my own stories. After graduating, I decided to apply to the Literary Institute. And that's where I first felt it. That feeling that you're surrounded by truly talented people, while you're just an imposter among them. I saw how my classmates and friends could put words together in ways I would never have even thought of. They noticed things and ideas in the world around them that I couldn't even imagine. And just like for Yaguchi, the only way I knew how to deal with it was to work. I wrote more than others, read more than others, and kept analyzing both my own writing and other people's to understand the difference, and what I needed to improve. At the Literary Institute, much like at the Tokyo Art University in Japan, your final project isn't a research paper, but your own creative work. Some students write something new just for graduation. I put together the best pieces I had written over 5 years. My professors appreciated the effort. But the main comment I received was this. This sounds like the voice of a normal person, maybe even too normal. And in that moment, I felt exactly like Yaguchi. In those moments when he becomes painfully aware that he might not have any special talent. So why make art at all? Why do anything really, if you don't have talent? Why spend so much time on something that can reject you, that isn't always pleasant or exciting, that demands so much thought and energy? Why even try when you're surrounded by people who seem truly gifted? In one of the early chapters of the manga, and in the first episodes of the anime, Yaguchi talks with his school friend, the one whose painting first inspired him to try art. He praises her talent, but she cuts him off sharply. "I'm not talented at all," she says. "I just spend more time on art than other people." The further Yaguchi goes on his path, first toward university and later beyond it, the more talented people he meets. But each time he discovers that none of them are perfect. All of them put enormous effort into their work. Their flaws, their struggles, their doubts simply aren't visible from the outside. And sometimes, the things that feel impossible to them turn out to be easy for Yaguchi, and the other way around. Someone else's talent often turns out to be just their version of normal, because everyone's normal is different. And little by little, Yaguchi learns not to obsess over what he can't do. He can't suddenly become naturally gifted, and he can't go back in time and start drawing earlier. But he can keep working, and take pride in how much he's managed to learn, understand, and improve along the way. As long as your interest lets you express something you otherwise couldn't, as long as it pulls you in and makes your life richer, as long as it helps you experience something new, or understand things that once felt out of reach, then it has meaning, even if you don't have talent. Because the goal isn't to take first place, earn praise from teachers, or even publish a manga that gets millions of views. The goal is to create your own masterpiece, to make something you couldn't make before. Maybe Yaguchi really is too normal, but his effort and the strategies he develops become his weapon, his own kind of genius. And maybe I'm too normal as well, but then I'll find something that can fill the emptiness inside me, something I can pour into my writing and tell in a way no one else can.
ここ数ヶ月、休むのもパフォーマンス上げるための行為で、自分の体が絵を描くための乗り物みたいな。
At first, a manga that shows art like this might seem elitist, something for geniuses, something meant only for fans of famous painters or students at art schools, a story about talent, unreachable brilliance, and some kind of otherworldly gift. But what if I told you it's actually a story about an ordinary guy who simply found something that fascinated him? A story drawn by an ordinary woman who just took her work seriously. And a story told to you by a very ordinary me. Then maybe it becomes easier to believe that not having talent is normal. That being normal isn't something to be afraid of. And if it still doesn't feel convincing, try reading or watching Blue Period. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell me in the comments, do you ever feel too ordinary? And how do you deal with it? Thanks for watching.